Welcome back to the latest episode of the Key and Mang audio experience. I'm your host, Mang. As always, show my fellow co-host, Key. Key, what's good?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, living lavish in this hot
Love it.
weather.
What?
I said in this hot weather,
In this hot weather. Hey, look, I think this Cali weather is better than your hot weather right now.
1,000%. Cali has the best weather.
Yeah, it's been like 80 and no humidity. Like it's smooth. It's smooth. And apparently it's like this, it's like 75, 70 to 80, like the whole year.
That's like exactly what I would like in terms of weather. I just want to be in like shorts and maybe a sweater or long sleeve at night and be chilling. And even be able to wear a long sleeve during the day. I wear long sleeves during the day all the time. People look at me like I'm crazy, but I
So,
love
so, so do I. I get clowned by some of the clients at work because I be wearing hoodies in the air conditioned gym, and I'm like, yo, it's cold.
Yeah, and my clients be thinking I'm tatted up because all I wear is long sleeves. I'm like, no, I just be cold and I feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's what's comfortable. And I'm like, yo, y'all go get used to it. So whatever.
They'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
What we talking
But
about
today,
today?
today we got we're talking about using social media to bring awareness to what you provide. And you've created the Lifting for Women Made Simple Facebook group, and that's been a way that you've been able to help a lot of women transform their health and fitness journeys. So we're gonna dive deep into the beginnings of how you started your Facebook group and how things you've learned along the way, and things that tips that you can give to other people trying to use Facebook as a platform to reach the people that they're trying to help. So, Key, can you tell us why you decided to use Facebook as the platform that you wanted to reach out to people?
Yeah, so I like within the last year, I decided to go all in on Facebook and use it as like my main platform. But when I first started my lifting for women group, it was actually not called that. It was called like keys to like health and fitness or something silly like that. Um, it started when I was in PT school and I was really just trying to post like just more health related or fitness related content. Didn't really have a theme to it. At the time, I think I was like tracking macros and like on a really like restricted and regimented program that I created for myself, and it worked. And I was sharing that, and people like saw my transformation and started to join the group. But like I said, I didn't have any theme to it, and I was still posting on like Instagram and Twitter. And then recently, within the past year, I decided to use Facebook because I think that Facebook fits the way I like to present content and the way I like to show up online. I think Instagram now is like very like oversaturated with like top 5 exercises to unbig your back or like top 5 exercises for this or for that. And I like to write, I like to educate. And I think that with Instagram and TikTok at the time, it didn't really allow me to do that. It's unpolished. I think on Instagram you got to show up like looking very like polished and like I feel like I can't be myself on Instagram like that. I think it's changing now, but Facebook is where I feel most comfortable in terms of. Can you hear me? Yeah, so Facebook is where I feel posting all types of content. So I decided to do that, and I completely rebranded my Facebook group and called it Lifting for Women Made Simple. And I post all content regarding exercise, specifically resistance training for women. Talk a lot about building habits to sustain a healthy lifestyle without feeling restricted. Talk about the changes that women go through as you age, especially menopause, and how resistance training is the key to kind of combat that. And based off of that content, I have also put that on my personal page and go into other Facebook groups and give value. And that's how people find my group. But it wasn't always that way.
And you said you felt most comfortable on Facebook and felt like you could be yourself, which I think is an important point to bring up. I feel like you hear a lot about trying to post on as many platforms as you can and trying to have your content fit for as many um platforms as you can so that you can reach more people. But I feel like if you're feeling like, okay, I gotta make a Facebook post and then I'm turning it into Instagram and I'm gonna turn this into a Twitter post and I'm gonna turn this into a TikTok, like that becomes, especially when if it's just you, it becomes a lot. And especially it can be overwhelming just because you got so many things that you got to get it out to. You got to change the caption on it to make sure it fits that certain play style or audience style. And it's a lot of extra work. So I think figuring out being able to figure out, all right, this is where I feel the most comfortable. I want to go all in on this. And that's not to say that for somebody else, you might like Instagram. So you go all in on Instagram, or you might like TikTok, you go all on TikTok. But I think starting with one and figuring out, all right, how am I going to optimize this platform to the best of my ability, where a lot of my people are, I can help a lot of people from this place, and figuring that out. I think that was you started to see like the shift and when you started to like go all in on Facebook. So what was it? Was it hard for you to stop posting as much on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and just focus on Facebook?
Yes and no. It was hard mentally because, you know, Facebook is known to be for like old people, and um most younger people are on like Facebook, I mean TikTok and Instagram, possibly YouTube. So like when people ask me, oh, where can I find your stuff? And I say Facebook, it's like, what? But when you really like as a stepping into like a business owner mindset and the field that I'm in, there's a ton of communities on Facebook. That's what Facebook is all about, communities. So if you're trying to build an audience with a certain demographic of people, then I think going where there's actual communities where people are posting valuable information as opposed to just worrying about how many followers you have or how many likes you get on the post. I think that's more valuable to me, but at the same time, it was in the back of my head, like maybe I should be focusing on Instagram. And I was talking to my little brother about this because he was like, oh, why don't you post on TikTok? And like he has like a car TikTok and he gets a lot of views and is getting like a lot of comments and stuff. But I don't care about the views or the comments that's shown publicly. I don't care about the follower count. Most of my like conversions come from the conversations and interactions I'm having with people that you don't see online. Because if you look in the comments of like any influencer, there's but so much value you can give there. Like there's only like you could give like if somebody asks a question, you can answer it. But outside of that, you don't really get into people's pain points. You don't really get to know people. So I think having an actual community is where I thrive. Not to say that other people can't make money the other way, but that's just where I feel most comfortable. And I think it'll get me to where I want to be as opposed to just focusing on building a page solely based off of likes and followers. And I think Facebook takes the focus off of that.
Yeah, I feel like it also helps you build your build trust, but I feel like it's also easier for people to feel safe to comment about what their problems are, what their pain points are. Because I feel like on Instagram, everyone's has this image that they're trying to portray. And if someone's struggling, they're really gonna post it on a social plat on an Instagram comment. They'll be like, they might DM you maybe, but same thing about the Facebook group. They might DM you trying to ask a personal question, and you could be like, you could answer it and then be like, here, I have this group that also dives into this. You have other people that are having a similar issue, and then you can connect those people with like-minded people who are going through a similar thing. And I think in terms of community building, like I think it's a great way to bring people together, like you said. So I see why you decided to go that route. So then tell us about like if you're new to creating a Facebook group and you're just getting started, like what are the things you have to keep in mind? Like what are some of the things that you have on that first, like when you're trying to have create your group, what are things that you're looking for?
So first you have to know who you want the group to be for. You don't have to be completely niche down. I think just starting a community as you get to like talk to people, you might be able to kind of refine your target audience, but having like a gross idea of who you want to help, who you want the community to be for is step number one. Then when you go to create the Facebook group, you want to have a welcome post or a welcome video with a caption telling about like the purpose of the group, what the members could expect when they join and how they can get the most benefit out of the community, as opposed to having them join and there's really no direction on where to go next or how to utilize what's inside. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I have in my group is a get started post, and is essentially like a freebie that I have. It's a free training on how to create your exercise routine or create a routine that works for you, and it walks you step by step how to do that. So if they watch that and follow along, they'll be able to have their routine created by the end of it. So that's helping them like take action right away. And the way that they get access to that is I have a picture of it. I'll actually share my screen now, actually. So get started post. All right. Do you see that?
Yes.
That's my get started post. And no, this is my, yeah, you see my get started post. Sorry. You don't see anything above that, right? You just see
No.
get started post. All right.
Correct.
So I have a get started post basically saying that there's a ton of conflicting information on social media and it's hard to know what's right or wrong and what works for you. So really just to cut out this noise, here's a free training to help you create the routine that works for you specifically, but you have to comment get started to get access to it. And a lot of people comment get started and I'll send it to them in their DM. What this does is it basically gives you permission to message somebody without feeling like you are like spamming them because they asked for this resource. So now you're sending it to them. And basically I send it to them and I give them like a week or so, and then I'll check back in with them and be like, did you get to check it out? And was it helpful? Or do you have any questions? Then the answer and then the combo just goes from there. And then the good thing about Facebook is when somebody comments on your post, it brings it back to the top of the page. So now other members are seeing it. And what I realize is that when one person comments, another person comments that has already been in the group, but they didn't pay attention to the post. So it kind of like starts like a domino effect. And this is how you start conversations and just learning more about what people are struggling with and really just helping people. Some people really aren't struggling and they're able to do things on their own, but just giving them that resource, fulfilling on what you said in the post, and then talking to them in the DM is really what it's all about. So I have that. And then the next thing would be having an idea of what content you want to post. Like I have themes for my group. I have like lifting over cardio. That's one of my themes. I have training around pain or training with an injury. Like if you're injured, you don't have to take time from the gym. Like this is how you still can be able to train. And then I also I've started to post more about like just lifestyle and maintaining your routine while not completely restricting yourself or feeling miserable along the way. So those are my three themes. And sometimes I'll post different things outside of those themes, but I try to keep it within those three just so that I have more like clarity on what I want to post. And then the next thing is as you're posting these and interacting with people, you'll notice that they are giving you content ideas as well. Like you may feel like you should talk about one thing, but your audience that you're catering to is actually not struggling with that. So taking content ideas from the conversations you're having or the questions you're getting is helpful, because if one person in your audience has that question, I'm pretty sure a couple other people do too. So those are the main things to get started with.
I love that. That was really good and broken down really simply. I have a follow-up question for you. You said on your get started post that you have people comment and get started to get the freebie sent to them on how to create their routines, and I think that's a great way to get people to get people's permissions to DM them, like you said. But what happens if someone joins the group and they don't comment and get started? How do you initiate conversations with those people who maybe are trying to get a feel for what you're trying to do, or maybe not feel as comfortable with, trying to, I don't know, what their fitness journey, like how do you initiate conversations with people in that situation?
Oh yeah, this actually reminds me, I forgot something on the last question, but the way you do that is through like your membership questions. So before anybody joins the group or is accepted, they answer 3 questions. And one of the questions is one of the questions that I have, it's an actual long question. It says, you can enjoy your life without restrictions, ditch the all or nothing mindset, and actually sustain your goals for the long term. Would you like me to private message you on how to do this? So this question was actually something different before. It was like, would you like to work with a coach one-on-one? And most people, if they don't know you, they're going to say no, because why would I want to work with you? I don't even know you. So I created a more open-ended question. And with this question, some people say no, don't message me. And I just like, okay, I won't message you. But most people say yes, because they're interested in how to do this. So that's how I get the permission to message them. And then also, if they don't fill out the question, I still accept them, but then I'll just write them like, hey, welcome to Lifting for Women Made Simple. What brought you to this group? How'd you find this group? So it's not like I'm trying to sell them or anything. I'm just really just asking, like, how'd you find it? And then from there, they'll probably say, oh, I wanted more tips on this. And then that starts the conversation. So it's really just figuring out what to say based off of the information or input they give you. So setting up your membership questions allows you to do that.
Yeah, so be strategic with your questions from the jump, so then you can figure out how to best help that person in front of you. Because what someone else might come in with, even though it's a lifting for women group, they might have people at different stages of their exercise journey. So being able to create a safe place for everybody to come in and feel like they can start wherever in their journey to be a part of the group. I think that comes from your strategic questioning. So I like that a lot. So now with like managing the group and like trying to make sure that you're still showing up every week or however many times a week you said you're going to show up, how do you make sure that the group stays engaging, stays popping, and that you're delivering on what you said you're going to deliver on?
I used to tell myself that I'm gonna post like 3 times a week in my group, and I felt like yes, I could do that, but sometimes posting 3 times a week in a group feels forced. So I really just post now based off of how I feel and if I feel like it would be valuable to the community. So I'm always having conversations with people daily. So even if I'm not showing up publicly or posting anything, I'm always having conversations in the background. And if I have a conversation and somebody is struggling with something and I'm also seeing that become a pattern, I'll talk about that in my group as a live or however post form I think I can deliver the content best. So going live and just picking out the most important things that I think multiple people are struggling with. So taking your conversations and turning it into content that your whole community could benefit from on a weekly basis. So it doesn't have to be every day, but at least once a week, I do go live based off of the conversations I'm having. And then I also I put polls in my group, like random polls. Like I got a couple of requests, like 10 requests in a day one time. And I basically said, like, where are you guys from? Like, where are you guys located? And then the post got like 50 comments. And people were like, I don't even have to interact at that point because people are like, oh, I'm from Georgia, I'm from Louisiana. And somebody's like, oh, my grandmother lives there or I live here. And then they're talking amongst themselves. So just random questions. And that's really how I keep the group engaged. But I would say, like, full transparency, my group isn't like crazy active. I think people get the resources they need. And then from there, they'll like ask me questions. I'm trying to get people to ask questions publicly so that I can answer it publicly and other people can like chime in. So I'm trying to get more engagement that way. But in terms of like just keeping your group engaged, I think either posting a poll or creating some type of authentic content that's not forced and not too salesy is important. Like not everything you post in your group needs to be a hard sell. I think you need to give value, and then at the end you could do like a soft call to action, like very low key, like if this resonates with you or you're struggling with this, comment or message me. and just get the conversation started. But if you're always selling every post, people are going to leave your group or just unfollow it.
And do you use the other socials to lead people to your group? Like if you post on Instagram or like on the stories or you make a post, do you try and funnel people to your Facebook group?
Yes, I do. I have it in my link tree on Instagram and Twitter. And if I post a carousel on Twitter, like the post where you slide the slide decks, at the end, I'll say, join my free lifting for women community, over 500 women, and get strong, or whatever correlates with the post. And people join that way. Sometimes people will ask me where the community is, like how do you join, because they don't realize that it's free. And I tell them it's Facebook. And sometimes people will say that they don't use Facebook. And from there, I'll still like have a conversation, ask them what they're trying to achieve, and then I will collect their email, and then they'll get on my email list, so they still get the same benefit, the same sort of content that I post in my Facebook, because I repurpose that to send to my newsletter. So there's still benefit to it, and that's one of the questions on my my membership questions. Like when you join, I ask for your email. I still accept people who don't put their email, because in order to get access to a lot of the resources, you have to opt in to forums. So I'll get your email eventually. So so yeah, I just collect emails, and then they'll still get the same type of content. But I think the Facebook community is a good way to have everything in one place.
Nice. And it sounds like, this has been a process. It's been a couple of years that you've been that you created the group and working to cultivate it and create a platform full of value and people that are on a similar mission to improving their health. What are some of the things that, like looking back, some of the mistakes you've made or some of the don'ts of managing a Facebook group?
The don'ts would be, or like the mistakes I made, was number one thing I think was trying to like grow the group fast. And with that comes with trying to promote it to anyone who's interested in exercise. And I was getting people in my group that probably weren't the right fit to be in the group. So they were looking more so for a spot to promote their like detox teas and stupid shit like that. And so trying to promote my group to just anybody who was interested in weight loss was the number one mistake I can say I made early on. So now I don't really just promote my group to anybody. I really just try to find the right person based off of like having conversations in other groups. Like if somebody is already exercising and lifting, and I think they would benefit from a resource that I have in my group, I would share it, but I'm not just sending it to random people like, hey, join this group. So really being more intentional about who I'm promoting it to. And then the next thing would be trying to sell too much in my group. I used to, like when I first got started, if I came out with a new, like when I came out with my course, I was basically posting it once a week in my group, and nobody was paying attention to it because a lot of people in there, just probably their first interaction with me. So I stopped doing that, and instead I have my course in there, but it's really under the resource page. So there's a lot of free resources, and then you get to the paid one, just so that it's not like I'm here to just spam people. So just trying to be more intentional about what I'm posting and trying to give value. And I would say the next mistake was not collecting emails. I think that because now that I have an extensive email list, I'm able to grow my group engagement more, because if I go live, I'll kind of recap the live, put it into an email, send it to my email list, and then that'll drive them back to actually watch the video or whatever post I created. Initially, I wasn't creating email lists because I wasn't collecting emails because I thought it was like cringy to ask for somebody's email, but now I know the value of having one. So that would be the biggest mistakes I have. I have made.
Plus, if something were to happen to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and so all of a sudden you lost your groups or something, like I think it just happened to Greg where he lost all his YouTube
Yeah,
subscribers,
he
something
did.
to his account. So he's like starting over again, but he got everybody's email list. So have something that you don't rely on just the group. Like have something that you own, that you can still get your message out there, even if the Facebooks and Twitters and Instagrams and TikToks are all gone. Like you still got ownership of something, and you can build up your platform that way as well. So basically, Key, what I'm hearing is that as a like takeaway is you found what the platform that you felt like you could deliver the most value to while being your authentic self, and you've learned along the way, but it's about giving value and trying to build community. And selling will have its moments where you have to sell, but usually it comes from when you give, and then you can make your ask one time and then continue to give, and people will notice you. People will start to invest in your stuff, but it's about trying to give to the people first, and then you'll be able to collect the harvest after you're done serving your peeps.
Right. And I think another thing is building community allows you to, once you build it up and like you put the work in, you kind of could take a step back and let like the members engage amongst themselves, honestly. Because as you're educating people, whether it's through like a course, whether it's through freebies or a one-on-one program you have, I see that like my clients will go in there and answer any questions, or even on my personal page, like I'll get a question asked and then people will help the other person out, and it's something that I taught that person. So as you build like a tribe, people will have like the same mindset as you, answer questions along like the similar thought process, and that's how you kind of reach people, as opposed to just being more one-on-one. Like once you start building that tribe, they'll kind of be like your little cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you affect one, it's like you said, a domino effect. You help one person, they help somebody else, and all of a sudden you're helping people all over the world while you're still in Connecticut dealing with the heat. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah.
But that's all we got for this episode. If anyone has questions about Facebook groups or anything, send us a DM, leave us a comment. Go join Keys Lifting for Women group, and you can see how she runs things in there. But don't be doing no crazy stuff, because Key will kick you out of her group if you trifling. So
expeditiously. Read the group rules before you join.
Yeah. And on that note, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Key and Mang Audio Experience. Peace.
All right. Peace.